So I'm just going to let people come into the room. Nice to see some people already showing up. Maria's here. Maria, I think you're new, or at least I haven't seen you comment before. Where did you find me from? Great to have you. Oh, Maria found me from Santos. Oh, you saw my Astro video. What did you think about it? Los Sol Libra is here. Corinne is here. Observe is here. My wife is here. Hi, sweetheart. You know, you can ask me questions here too that pertain to esoteric and all sorts of stuff, sweetie. Kyle says, "Yo, Dankman, what's cracking? Love to you in chat room." Kyle, it's good to see you, man. I've been watching you for years. Thanks so much for the knowledge. Oh, I got confused because Santos recently. So, guys, Santos got his channel back because of me. I want you guys to know that. Now, I'm not using that in a negative way or anything. It's just that when I got my channel back, I emailed him and I was like, "Hey, bud, do you want me to help you get your channel back? Because I've already gotten like 4 people's channels back." And he was like, "Yes." So I sent him a screenshot of something I needed him to upload. And I told him, "Go through this because you're going to go through Google instead of going through YouTube. And it's going to supersede it. And they're going to let you back on." And they let him back on. So then I was like, "Hey, since, I talked to you at Syncretism Society, I did this a week ago." Anyway. Let's see what's going on. This is freezing up. So I got some people in here. I'm just waiting to see comments. I'm pretty sure I first saw you with Santos years ago. Yeah. Santos is the one that woke me up to astrotheology. I mean, Jordan Maxwell did too, but Santos really did. Just everything he said, like, I was so new to it, to the constellations and everything, but everything he said just resonated so deeply with me that I just started studying his videos forever until I was able to start making my own content. So, guys, do we have any questions that you want to get into? Stuff that's happening in the news, stuff that's going on in life, anything in general that we should just be going into? Please let me know. I'm also going to let more people come into the room. I've only been live for about 4 minutes. Is the Bear constellation only seen in the northern hemisphere? No. The Bear is Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. That's Gemini and Cancer. That's where it's located. That's the top. You can see it from the south too. Well, okay. Corinne said, "Yeah, I wondered what happened to you. Your channel, and everything just vanished. Someone else on YouTube asked me what happened to you, and I had no idea." Well, geez. Yeah, I saw some videos on YouTube when I got. So it was the day after Thanksgiving is what happened. I lost my channel for a 2-year-old video that I did that they took down. And the only thing I said in the video was, I don't know why the elites I know why they're doing it, and it's not a good reason, but I don't understand why they need adrenochrome when you could just take an EpiPen and oxidize it, just put it in the light. Anybody who's taken organic chemistry, more light, more oxidation, right? Take an EpiPen and put it in put it in the light, and it's chemically identical to adrenochrome. It's epinephrine. It's adrenal. Um, anyway, that's why they took me down. But I made that video 2 years prior, and they gave me my third strike on the exact day that my first strike was supposed to come off, and that was the same day that I was supposed to go on Archaics. Primatene Mist is epinephrine. They're EpiPens, guys. It's for anaphylaxis. That's what they're used for. People who are allergic to peanuts, people who are allergic to bee stings, things like that. But if you oxidize one, it's no different than adrenochrome. But you know why they're doing it. Oh, you said the A word. I just said it again. Only this time I'm being told that the people that are watching the channel aren't giving out strikes as much. A lot of content creators are getting back on this. They can be bought at a drugstore as an inhaler. True, Lost Soul Libra, that's true. But why do something like that when you could just drain a child? That's how the elites think. You have to do something so sick to become part of their club. Now, there was another comment I saw up here that I wanted to address, which is Kyle. And what is the swastika constellation in the Northern Hemisphere? Number one, there's no swastika constellation. Number two, it's not in the Northern Hemisphere. What the swastika is if you take Polaris, the North Star, the one that doesn't move, and you wrap the Big Dipper on the solstices and the equinoxes around it, it forms the swastika. And that's where it comes from. The oldest symbol we've ever found, one of them, is the swastika. And they found it, it was 17,000 year old. They found it on it looks like a maraca, but it's from Ukraine. A 17,000-year-old artifact from Ukraine. We found the swastika on it. So they want the adrenaline, fear, the blood. They must be energized with fear. Exactly. My wife says, what do astrotheologians will think of demons like Moloch or Belial, etc.? There's only if I'm just literally just talking about the stars, I would say Priscilla would have a better understanding on that. But I can tell you this right now. There's a star called Algol, which is where the character Ra's al Ghul got his name from in Batman Begins. Algol is the demon star, and it's fixed in Taurus. So they do have some demon and negative entity astrology out there. But things like Moloch or Belial, those don't really fit into the astrotheology of it. How do I explain this? These entities are real, but the way that they were described in things like the Bible was a poor man's understanding of it. They really didn't do these entities justice when explaining. Like, for example, Yahweh, right? Yahweh, the name of God, Yod He Vav He. Well, Yahweh was a Phoenician Canaanite deity, like Moloch, like Baal. And these entities are very real, but they're non-physical. But astrotheological, I'm going to ask Priscilla, and I'm going to get back to you later, hon. The A word got you taken down. That's why you disappeared. Well, I mean, they waited 2 years to do it. Catherine Akers says, hey, I made it to alive. Hello, been a minute. Hi, Catherine. How have you been? It's good to see you. It represents the seasons, correct. If you're talking about the swastika, that's correct. If you're talking about the swastika, that's correct. The solstices and the equinox of the Big Dipper, they form a swastika. How likely do you think Nick Reiner was ritually used and abused? Nick Reiner would be the son that murdered Rob Reiner and his wife. I mean, they all are. I mean, first of all, Rob Reiner wasn't a good person to begin with. And I'm not just talking about his Trump derangement syndrome, because he had one of the worst things. Or the fact that when he would post on Twitter, it would be such like surface level understanding of whatever politics was happening. But that's how most people are. They don't think deep. There's no metacognition, which is metacognition is thinking about your own thinking. It's the highest level of understanding. People like Nick Reiner or Chet Hanks are abused. Nick Reiner was in and out of mental institutions, I think 12 or 18 times. No, I don't remember the amount. Never mind. Don't quote me on that. But if he had been abused, they're all abused. You have to either trans the kid, like Megan Fox's 3 sons, they're all trans. Magic Johnson's kid, Charlize Theron's kid. I mean, just all the celebrities, just all of them. You have to trans the kid. You have to sacrifice a family member, or you have to abuse a child. That's what has to happen in order for you to get to that level. I think it is likely Nick Reiner was ritually abused. I hope he gets to share his side of the story so that we can figure it out. But Rob Reiner basically went after Epstein, Weinstein, Harvey Weinstein. He went after Harvey Weinstein for the most part because he wanted him out of the way because he was competition. As a director-producer and Harvey Weinstein as a producer, they would clash. When people blame everything on the Draco reptilians, and I say to them, they come from Alpha Draconis, and their symbolism is 33. 33 has been perverted. The original meaning of 33, Jesus dying at 33, or how you see... Okay, so 4D chess, right? 33 is the amount of bones in your spinal column, with your coccyx at the bottom. Remember, guys, you're in utero, you grow a tail and then lose it. I don't know if you know this, but your tailbone, sometimes people have a tailbone that they can wiggle. Your coccyx all the way up to the base of your spine. You know that your spine actually goes into your brain, right? That's the resurrection, when you can raise the chrism, when you can raise that, and that's just known. That's not even like up for debate. 33 is the number of bones, so it's a symbolism of rising. But what do they do? They pervert it and invert it. So they always highlight 33. We figured this out in 33 minutes, or 33 this, 33 that. You always see it in the newspapers, on the news and everything. And all the religious people go, oh, 33, look at the... They don't know where it comes from. It's been inverted and perverted. And on my website, I do share a video called Illuminati Hand Symbols Debunked, where I talk about 33 and things like this, things like this, things like this. I talk about all that. I explain where they all come from. My website is debunkmywork.com. Miss Honeybee is here. Hey. Gina, it has been forever. How is the Fox Den these days? Please like, subscribe, and share Michael all over the world. Thank you, Miss Honeybee. Much love. Do you believe in karma, karmic relationships, and karma ties? There are two universal laws that exist. The first is mathematics, which is the left brain way that everything is ordered and put together. The mathematics is the same here as it is on the other side of the cosmos. The other one is karma. Karma is the right brain way that it is enforced. Karma is very real. The revelation of the method that these people do, what revelation of the method is basically how, like at the Super Bowl, they show you all this demonic stuff and this and that. Or people are like, it's always hindsight, right? Because they go back and they're like, oh, 5 Super Bowls ago, you saw all the hospital beds and now COVID happened. And you have these conversations that go on the internet, right? That normies don't know about. And they have to show you this because they believe. I'll explain it to you the way that it's real simple, the way it was explained by Andrew Tate, who a lot of people don't like. Jury's out on him, to be honest with you. It doesn't look good on my side for him, to be honest with you. I think he's cocky. I think he's done things that he shouldn't have. But he did explain it really well one time. He said, if I have an apple, or if I have a bag of apples, and I write poisoned apple on the bag, and you buy one from me, and you eat it and you drop dead, that's on you, right? But if I take a bag of poisoned apples and I don't write it, and you buy one from me and you eat it and you die, that karma's on me. And you have to repay karma back before you go on to wherever your soul comes from. And most people just go through the reincarnation trap, the reincarnation cycles. Most people just do that. The reincarnation trap is very simple. At the end of your life, and this happens to almost everybody, you start seeing spirits in the ceiling. You start seeing loved ones. You start talking in your original language. You're reverting. Your brain is processing it. DMT, right, which everyone talks about when you sleep, or people do DMT, is released twice in your lifetime. It's actually released more than twice, but it's actually only released in 2 circumstances. The first is when you're in heavy REM sleep. It causes you to dream. The second is as your body is shutting down, getting ready to die, your brain is flooded with DMT. And DMT floods the brain, and then people start to see former loved ones, former pets, family members, friends. And they're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to heaven. And then they go towards the white light, and then they're reborn. They come back. Because Earth is governed by natural law, but it's a free will zone. You have to be tricked in order to accept your prison. Earth is a prison. It's a cycle system because what the entities that are non-physical run off of is emotions and emotions and emotions, which are so powerful. They don't want you to know how powerful your emotions are, but they run off of it. That's why they try to keep you in a fear-based system with the news, with war, with everything, turning your neighbors against each other, putting everyone in little boxes so they can identify them, so they can pit this one against that one. This realm, for them to continue to feed off of what's called loosh, they need to continuously have this. And the only way they can have that is if souls keep recycling. The way to break the cycle is if you're actually really ready to not come back, what you do is, as you face the white light, turn around 180 degrees. When you turn around 180 degrees, you'll be facing the universe. Ask the universe. Say, I wish to go back to the place where I originated from. And you'll either reconnect with Source as a whole, the Godhead, or you'll go to a different realm where you can continue to learn. Most people don't know this. Most people don't know that the white light is a trap. Some people even speculate that the white light that you see at the end of a tunnel and you see something in there is you being reborn and coming out the vagina and seeing the light for the first time. It's a direct reborn thing. Some people obviously they need to take time to reevaluate their lives. Beings do that for them, but mostly, I don't know how much I feel about that, to be honest with you. That's like the birth canal is what it is, but that's how you break the thing. That's how you break it. But karma is absolutely real. The elites believe in it. That's revelation of the method. They have to show you what they're going to do because in their mind, it offsets the karma. You have to choose your own prison. I'm going to say it again. This world is governed by natural law. So they have to trick you in order for you to accept your prison. Miss Honeybee, girl, you're awesome. Why are we in this simulation? What's your opinion of the purpose of life? I'm going to read you something. It's going to be my 9th book, which isn't out yet, but this is going to answer your question. Hold on. I just have to think of how to search because I'm in. Hold on. Ready? You can't think of the world as a simulation. That's just what we have now. That is just the latest thinking. So this is a quote that I preempt one of my chapters. 5 minutes after the invention of the wheel, the whole world is a wheel, turning round and round, an endless cycle of seasons and lives and realms. It all keeps turning and it all keeps coming back around. 5 minutes after the invention of books, the whole world is a book. God is the author of beings, and he writes our names in the book of life. It is the beginning. In the beginning was the word. 5 minutes after the invention of complex gears, the whole world is mechanical. God is the divine watchmaker, and the planets spin along predetermined paths according to the turning of cosmic gears. It's all just predictable mechanical paths from creation to here. 5 minutes after the invention of computers, I think I've just figured something out. QN simulation theory. 5 minutes after the invention of the meta-narrative. Like a wheel, this whole process repeats itself. We find new formalizations and use them to understand the world, not realizing we are part of that world. Do you see a pattern repeating here, guys? I hope I'm making myself clear with this, by the way. Computer simulation and simulation theory is not where the story ends, but where we are at evolutionarily now. Next will be crystals to make a full circle back to Atlantis. And if we survive ourselves, maybe the ether will come to play. Maybe a better understanding of plasma. Who knows? And that is just where we're at right now. That's why simulation theory is so hot and everyone's like, this is it. And these are just people who are trapped in the time frame that they live in, thinking that they're out there changing the world with these kind of ideas, not realizing that when the new thing is invented, they're going to attribute God and they're going to attribute this and they're going to attribute that to this. We just can't see it right now. So why are we in this simulation? I don't think it's a simulation. I I believe in free will. I do believe that and I know, it's not that I believe, I know that your birth chart has a lot to do with it. If you have a good astrologer, they will walk you through it. And a birth chart, basically, guys, getting your birth chart done, what it does is, like, it helps you understand who you are. It helps you understand why you do things the way you do, why certain things are the way that they are for you. So basically, instead of walking through life blindly, you can be self-aware. Instead of just thinking, oh, I have such a temper. I shouldn't be using these words for people. I have such a temper and I don't know why. You know, people like that. But why? There's an astrological reason behind that. What is your opinion on the purpose of life? Well, real quick, it's real simple. I'm just going to tell you what Picasso said, because this is what I believe. Picasso said that the meaning of life is to find your gift, because we each have one. The purpose of life is to find your gift. And the meaning of life is to give it away. And it's that simple to me. Satan, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, the hierarchy of evil. I haven't really studied that, to be honest with you. Miss Honeybee says, peaceful healing energy to all. The streets are all the same, only the names change. The same with the leaders, rulers, gods, etc. Yes, Miss Honeybee, but it's all telling the same story, which is the sun going through that during the course of a year. Kyle says, Dankman, you should do teaching on the constellations and hemispheres, Southern Cross, and the season Fixed Unfixed. I love the stars mainly influenced by the Dankman. Look into Bill Donahue. Okay, Bill Donahue is one of my predecessors. He explains that. That's like his bread and butter, to be honest with you. I agree with you, Micah. Thank you. 95% of people do not have inner dialogue. I heard it was somewhere around 40 to 50%, but even then, that's insane. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about people that appear. You just look at someone and listen to the way that you talk sometimes, the way they talk sometimes, and you're like, wow, they've been here before, right? And then other people, you're like, this is their first time here. I believe in the NPC theory. I do. Francis says, following you from Kenya. Well, Francis, thank you, brother. Good to see you. Good, however, I was told all my teeth have to be pulled. All 20 that are left. Sucks, however, I am dealing. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not sure why, but they recently found out that there's a compound called hydroxyapatite. Hydroxyapatite that regrows teeth or strengthens them. It literally regrows teeth. So I don't know what your situation is with that, but I would look into that. Thanks for answering. You're welcome. The teeth are the first thing that go. They don't want us to have teeth. That's why they pull the wisdom teeth, because they have memory. Yeah, pulling wisdom teeth. I wish I knew this when I had it done in my 20s, but wisdom teeth, they come in painful, but they help teach you things. They're all attached to different parts of you. All the teeth. Miss Honeybee is completely correct with this. There's some great literature out on this too, which I'll see if I could find. When they talk about reptilians, they're talking about the reptilian part of the human brain. The reptilian midsection, yeah. I always talk about this. I say, alcohol brings you down to your reptilian brain. Because what happens when you drink? You only want 3 things: food, sex, or sleep. That's an animal. That is an animal. And that is what you're brought down to when you're letting these spirits enter you. However, the reptilians, I do believe that they are real. I've had conversations with people who I highly respect, who I believe have seen them. I've seen a shifter once, to be honest with you, but I guess I've kind of blocked it out of my memory. Shakti resides in tailbone as well. Okay. Bones grow like crystal. Gratitude to you, Micah. You're appreciated, friend. Language is the liquid we are all dissolved in. The English language is compiled by curses and spells. That's why it's called cursive and spelling. Grammar is grimoire. Yeah, 100%. When pets die, where do their souls go? Well, you guys have watched me talk about how everything is God, right? That there is nothing outside of the infinite. Everything is a part of God, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that. You have three dimensions here, and I'm not just talking about length, width, height. I'm not talking about that. You have the plant, that's one. You have the animal, that's two, and you have the human, that's three. That's the third dimensional. Pets are right before us. The meaning, the purpose. I'm not going to use meaning or purpose because I'm going to attribute that to Picasso. But one of the things that we have to learn in life, here on Earth is how to, with all the evil that's out there, how to exist in love. Because a good person is not someone that's never seen adversity. That's a weak person. A good person is an absolute lunatic. Like a guy that's just terrifyingly scary, but has it under voluntary control and lives in peace. That's the only alpha male that's out there. And those are the protectors of women. Those are the protectors. But where do pets die? So one of the things we have to do is we need to transmute all the pain into love. And that takes us a whole lifetime to figure out. Some people never do. But an animal is nothing but love. So they don't have to stick around the earth much longer for long. They're here to aid us. And then when they pass, they go back to source. Remember, source is just energy. Everything is just condensed energy. So when the pets go back to source, it is reasonable to say that when you go back to source, you can reconnect with that energy. You can reconnect with these energies. Think of like a cookie, right? Everybody's a little crumb off the cookie, but if you put the crumbs back with the cookie, when it breaks off, and then that's everybody's little soul, but then you go back and you become part of the whole cookie again. I think they go back to source because they don't have any life lessons to learn. Pets don't have any life lessons to learn. Now, religious people will tell you that animals have no soul and that when they die, they're dead. And that's bullshit. That is nonsense. So where do they go? They go back to the Godhead, where one day we will all go back, hopefully. Have you seen at the bottom of the ocean or a lake the brine pools where the density of the water is different and separate a picture? That's the firmament. I believe there's an ocean firmament too. Sure. I mean, the Mariana Trench is not the deepest part of the ocean, not by any means, not by anything. Absolutely. So yeah, no, they're underground. There's underwater lakes. How's that possible? There is. Or have you ever seen two oceans where they meet? The waters are different. Why do people blame the actions of Zionists on Jewish people when Christian Zionism is very real? How much time do you have? One of the first things Hitler did when he got into power was he had Rothschild's bank shut down and he had him arrested. The Balfour Declaration, which was the preeminence to the creation of Israel, opens the first line of the Balfour Declaration. Dear Lord Rothschild. There are Jews out there that aren't Zionists. You also have to understand, guys, is that the Israel now is not the Israel that it was back then. Now, Christians will go ahead and tell you that Israel is just a state of being, a state of mind for all the believers in Christ who that's the true state of Israel. The actual state of Israel right now, this apartheid state, is not the original. And for whatever belief it is, Christian Zionism is very real. You know, it's funny. I always think about this, guys, when you're talking about Christians. Like, in their own eschatology, they are second-class citizens. Why have a belief system where you're a second-class citizen? As it says in the Bible, the Christians are grafted in to Israel, to the promise of God, to everything. The Christians have to, Christian Zionism has to exist because they need to sacrifice the red heifer, which they secretly did already. They didn't make it public because they didn't want it to be a big thing. But they actually think that doing all these little things in the Bible is gonna bring it down. Now they have to build a temple on where the mosque is, the Dome of the Rock. They have to build the third temple there on that mount, but they can't do it because it's the second holiest site in Islam, and it will cause a war. The red heifer, they sent a bunch from Texas. I mean, they're doing all this stuff because they want to bring the Messiah back. They want to bring the Messiah, and these are billions of people in the world, that need a savior because they can't look within and save themselves. These are people that need a savior to have taken all their sins, all their negative stuff. But Christian Zionism is very real because Jesus is going to come back and the final battle is going to happen in Israel. He has to come back to Israel where every knee will bow, every tongue will confess that Jesus is Lord. You've heard that, right? And then the final battle is going to take place in a town called Megiddo in Israel. Megiddo is where we get the word Armageddon from, or Megiddo is the root of Armageddon. All Abrahamics need to be treated the same way. They need to be mocked and ridiculed. Again, Christians are second-class citizens in their own eschatology. If as a Christian, the more you venerate the Jews, the whole thing is just stupid. CFR is here. CFR News. Good night, brother. 777. All right, guys, let me explain to you guys because I recently came into some new understanding on this, and I've been wanting to share this. Numbers like seeing 111 or 333, like it's 333 right now, PM. People go, oh my God, magic numbers. That is 4D chess. That is these numbers, seeing 111, 222, 333, follow you around. That is to keep you in the loop. It's part of the matrix. You should not be following these numbers. You should not be following these numbers or looking them up. What does this mean? What is this? I see it all the time, and it will follow you. Even after you're like, I reject this layer of matrix, it will still follow you, and you have to continuously reject it. Sacred numbers are just, it's the matrix level of spirituality. It's the matrix level of, it's part of the design. Is DMT and LSD? No, DMT is dimethyltryptamine. LSD is lysergic dimethylene acid. So they're very different. LSD is acid, which was created by the CIA. Remember what John Lennon said? He said the CIA
tried to control us with acid, but they set us free. They didn't like him when he said that. They didn't like that at all. DMT is not an LSD, no. Mimosa tree high DMT, it's part of ayahuasca, yeah. Ayahuasca, if any of you guys have thought about tripping on ayahuasca, let me just suggest that you maybe try something else. Because you have to prepare your body first. And I'm not going to go into exactly what you have to do to prepare your body. He's got to do something different now. I'm not going to tell you what you have to do to prepare your body with ayahuasca. But part of the trip when you're on ayahuasca is profusely sweating, shitting your brains out, and vomiting everywhere. That is part of the trip. So ayahuasca retreats look like scat parties, to be honest with you. Try DMT. Try mushrooms. Try do something that doesn't make you bend like an accordion. We can see other dimensions under DMT, Jamie says, and that's correct. We can. I was actually, I don't know if you guys know who Oliver Stone is, the director, but his son, Scott Stone, I did an interview with him one time. And one thing he told me that I'll never forget is that he told me that a lot of people, you guys have heard of the mechanical elves, right? In the higher realms. He told me that a lot of people have report that the mechanical elves are racist, which at the time I thought was the funniest thing in the world. But now I'm just kind of like, what are these entities then? A lot of people see the same things, but yeah, apparently they're racist. I recently found out going through my mother's belongings after she passed that my brother is buried in a Jewish cemetery. That led me to learn my mother is Jewish. She hid that from me for 45 years. You know, there's when you say somebody's Jewish and you get a DNA test, you're going to find out that a lot of them are Ashkenazi from Europe. That is not Israeli Jewish. The people in Gaza have more Semitic blood and more blood that could be traced back to that area than most of the people in Israel. That's why in Israel DNA testing is forbidden. If you don't identify with something, you don't identify with it. It's something non-tangible. You know, my mother is Jewish. If you don't identify as being Jewish, you don't have to start being like, oh my God, what do I do now? No, it has no bearing on this. It has no bearing on anything. She hid it from you for 45 years. I wouldn't stress too much about it. Just live your life without it, to be honest with you. Consent, whether explicit or implied. Exactly. How is one going to remember to do that, turn 180 degrees when they are dead? I mean, now that I explained to you guys what to do, it's in your brain. You should never not have it. When you come to that part, you'll remember what I said. I believe. If you watch it or listen to it, you're giving your permission, you're giving your free will up. Okay? We're not in a simulation. We are the simulation creators and actors, instruments. Everything is a projection from our consciousness. That's why they have to have the majority of us agree for reality to exist the way it does. I mean, guys, history books are written by the victors, right? I mean, Are we not here to learn until we have enough wisdom to become one with the Creator? You can become one with the Creator. It's not a race, and it's certainly not, you're not going to attain enough wisdom. Look, the pie chart, of stuff that you know is like a sliver. Like, you might not even be able to make the sliver. It's that thin. The stuff that you don't know is about a third. And then the rest, the other 2/3 of it, is stuff that you don't know that you don't know. So no, the wise people on earth go through life going, I searched and looked at what I thought was interesting. I learned about stuff that I thought was cool. But I don't know anything. It's the fool that thinks that they're satisfied with what they've learned. And let them be. It is what it is, you know? What do you think about the M and the crescent moon on the palms? Can you see it? That's one. People that have double M's tend to be very good manifestors. Or if they wanted to go into esoteric stuff, they tend to be drawn to it. That's palmistry. I'm assuming you have that. I haven't seen the crescent moon. I haven't heard about that, to be honest with you. Kundalini King is here. Bill Donahue has a gift, and he gave it away for free. An amazing human being. He was great. He was another one that co-signed my work. I sent him my video. You know what he actually told me? He actually told me, slow down. Because I'm from New York, so I talk fast, right? I hope that I'm becoming, because I know when I started, I was like, blah, 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 blah. I know that I'm slowing down a little being in Florida, which is good because I need that. But Bill Donahue told me, he was like, slow down because you have a lot of good information there. Free Your Mind is here. Hey, Micah and family, I just got here. Thank you, Micah, for acknowledging that. I very much appreciate it. Isn't alcohol the fermented spirit of the plant it's made of? Alcohol comes from the word al-kul in Islam. Al-kul means mind-eating spirit. That's why they're called spirits. And if alcohol was the fermented spirit of the plant it's made of, then I guess cooking any kind of fruit and vegetable would be the same thing too. Alcohol is, you lower your vibration and it allows entities to fuck with you. No one's ever made a great decision on alcohol. You want to know something funny? Go to Wikipedia. Go to Wikipedia and type in Irish inventions. You'll find that in the 13th century, they invented whiskey. And then they don't have another invention until the 1700s, which I find super funny and super interesting. I also have my tonsils, no healthcare, vaccines of any kind in 15 years. God bless. Tim is here. Tim, good to see you. I like how Donald Walsh says we were created so the divine creator can experience itself through us in all things. Exactly. I believe that we make a contract with our pets before we're born, and they come with us in every life. That's beautiful. Love you, Micah. You're appreciated, friend. Thank you. So, guys, I want to take a minute real quick. My 9th book is coming out in about 2 months. If you want to go to my website, debunk my work, I'll put it in the chat. If you want to go to my website, debunkmywork.com, I have links for all of them. If you guys could support and pick up the book series, if you're interested in learning more and seeing how I teach people through writing, everyone that reads, I mean, just go to book 1, go to Beneath the Veil, go to Amazon and read the reviews. They're more than I could have ever asked. So how do you think the Khazarian mafia fit into Israel or Netanyahu? Netanyahu, you guys still think that the leaders are running things? Everything happening in Israel right now is to speed up the timeline because they know we're coming into the age of Aquarius. They know that the age of belief is failing. The religious is falling. So they're trying to depopulate us. By doing everything like raising taxes, making women work, do all this kind of stuff in order for the birth rate to drop. Vaccines, things of that nature. And the birth rate is dropping throughout the world. Japan is going to be gone in 3 generations, the way it's going right now. It's so much deeper than like the Khazarian mafia fit into Israel. It's so much deeper than that. Not to spoil the game, but you guys know those elongated skulls that you see in Egyptian hieroglyphs? That's a group of hominids called Homo capensis. And Karen Hughes was an IMF World Bank whistleblower. She did a lot of work on this. She has since passed. I don't know if it was because of what she said or did or anything, but these elongated skull beings are the ones at the top of everything. Now, I know I just jumped like 40 different levels of disclosure and above, like who's running this? It's the Jesuits. Who's this? It's the Jews. Who's this? It's the Vatican. It's the Club of Rome. It's the Knights of Malta. It's the Masons. It's the at the top. It's those beings, and they showed you that. David Wilcock showed you that in his presentation called The Source Field. And what did they do to David Wilcock? In his own words, they turned him into a banana sandwich, which means there was one dude behind him and one dude in front of him. That's a banana sandwich. That's what they did to David Wilcock for exposing that. But that's what it is. It's the Homo capensis. They're the ones that are basically running everything. And you can still, yeah, so we'll leave it at that. So do indigenous people who live within jungles have a better spiritual connection as they are more immersed into nature than our material fake player society? We're all looking for answers, to be honest with you. There's a million roads to enlightenment. I don't think so, because they have hand-me-down past things. Guys, you are not your lineage. You are not your bloodline's echo. You are their upgrade. Remember that. You're not their echo. You do not, if you were born Jewish, you do not need to go through all the rituals in order to do this, to make mom and dad. That is not your purpose. You do not exist to please other people. You exist to find your own way in this world. Our salvation isn't outside of us, it's within. Miss Honeybee, you're 100% correct. What does Jesus say? Luke 17:21? No. Or is it the book of Thomas? Yeah, it's Luke 17:21. The kingdom of heaven is inside you. It's within. It is within. You know how you know this? Because you go to any Abrahamic religion, you go to a mosque, a church, or a temple, right? And you say, I'm looking to convert, I'm looking to, what can you tell me? There's a Messiah, you got to do this. The first thing they'll tell you is that there's an external savior. The very last thing that a clergyman from the Abrahamic religion will ever do, and they will never do this, is tell you that to look inside. That's where God is hiding. Thank you, Shannon. What is your thoughts on the third temple being your mind? I don't see that, to be honest with you. And most of the world is waiting for the actual third temple. Why are these called temples? What's between them? What's this? Could be. What is the new ballroom is actually the third temple. Yeah, that's why I actually made a post about that, Miss Honeybee. I actually made a post about that. It is possible. It is very possible. I mean, he held up the blueprint. He held up the blueprint, and it looked just like Solomon's temple. What do you know about Ophiuchus? What do you want to know about Ophiuchus? It's the serpent bearer. Where is Scorpio on this thing? Scorpio is right here. Sagittarius is right here. Ophiuchus is right here in between them. Sagittarius is the man on the horse with a bow and arrow. So, in the Bible, when it tells you that Dan will become like a serpent, that's Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus is facing Sagittarius. Dan will become like a serpent and will bite the heel of the horse, and the rider will fall off. It's star poetry. It's celestial poetry. It's the greatest story ever told, is the sun going through the 12 zodiac signs. It's a farmer's almanac. It's so many things, and they have ruined it by telling you it's a literal thing. There's the Bible. Jack is here, who's new. Hi, Micah. Your astrotheology lecture contains undeniable truth. The pattern of next to and across is certainly there, but what does it really mean? To explain that simply, it's like having, you read the Bible, right? And then you find all these patterns in it. And it's basically like homework. It teaches you the heavens. It teaches you what stars are where, what constellations are where. It teaches you where everything goes in the cosmos. It's a map. And they're basically just homework questions as you go through them. And as you've seen my astrotheology lecture, you've seen the 6,000 years part 2, right? Where I show it all the way back to Gilgamesh. Only it was much more profound in those. Well, not really, actually. I shouldn't say that. It's equally as poignant. But yeah, no, I mean, that's basically what it is. What does it mean? It's a farmer's almanac. Taurus tells you when you see the bull, you put the plow on the bull because it's time to plant. Virgo tells you, the lady with the weed stalk, that it's time to gather the grains. And then each one of these has a story that's part of the farmer's almanac. It's the way to stay alive on this planet. Gwendolini King says, Mercer Eliad says the truth can only be found in the myth, the living myth. Yep. Thank you so much for answering that. I've been so curious, okay? So it's not the fermented spirit of the plant; it's an actual jinn. Yeah, that's what the Muslims call it, the jinn. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. Your thoughts if a person is Rh-O negative, however, sure the O came from the father. O negative had a son that was a positive because the father was a positive. The woman did have the Gremlin shot. You talk about Rogam, right? The shot that allows you to. People that, well, it has to be one way because if you have a father that's Rh negative and a mother that's Rh positive, they can still have a baby. If the mother is Rh negative and the father is Rh positive, the mother's body will reject it unless she takes the Rogam shot. She did have the shot. I'm A negative, and I don't know where that comes from, to be honest with you, because nobody in my family is negative. The Gospel of Judas, Didymus Thomas, the twin brother of Jesus. You know why Thomas Didymus is the twin brother? It's Gemini. Because Thomas, in Hebrew, Ta'om, or Tom, means twin. Didymus is a Greek word. That means twin. Those are your two twins right there. So Thomas Didymus is Gemini. The seat of God is in the temple, which our temples are on either side of our head. Exactly. Micah, what do you think about the words in Isaiah? Change to a wolf instead of the lion that lays with the lamb. Well, the wolf is the constellation Lupus. That's in Libra. The lion is Leo, and the lamb is Aries. Libra and Aries are opposing signs. So it's just another homework piece to figure out the connections and the constellations and everything. All right, guys, I got to take off. It's been great. This is fun. I'll do this more often on the weekends.